have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
It's time to buckle up for making sense of the madness.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and South Park finally premiered this week after a long hiatus. I think it was a couple years since the last season, and then there was a legal battle with Paramount and others that shifted it even later into the summer. A $1.5 billion, that's billion with a B, deal was made for 5 more seasons. That is $300 million a season. And what we got in large part was kind of this uninspired and quite honestly, intellectually dishonest piece about the Trump administration and the media, and then Trump himself. And I was actually kind of surprised that I didn't see more, I guess, rage posting by the conservative or alternative media. I guess they go with the Trump administration narrative that South Park hasn't been relevant now for 20 plus years. I would totally and completely disagree with that. But we're going to dissect this because it also involves artificial intelligence and its use in satire. And I would say that this use case is probably the largest use case we have seen so far. And I've often talked about AI and political satire. So we're going to talk about that aspect of it. And then the NPR aspect of the show. So I'm going to warn everybody. Full spoiler town. Full spoiler town. If you have not seen the episode and you don't want me to completely ruin it for you, okay, I'd say hit pause and go check it out on whatever streaming service you have, or maybe you want to DVR it if that's a thing. Find it online. I don't know what you're doing out there in 2025. I haven't had a cable box in well over a decade. I mean, I can't even remember the last time cable was a thing. That being said, I need your support literally now more than ever. There are no more paid gigs. There have not been for a very long time now, and I need your support. I do want to thank those who have recently donated, both Wendy and I am Paula of Free and Sovereign Domain. Thank you so much. What do we got there? Folks, I like South Park, okay? I want to start that. Not like South Park. Love South Park. In fact, we're going to be talking about the movie, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, that really is almost 30 years old at this point. And that film, which there's kind of a throwback, and we'll get to that too, with Trump in this, and kind of discuss South Park's overall take on the presidencies, when they've satirized, when they've chose not to satirize the president, what they did with Donald Trump up until this episode, via Mr. Garrison, who has been a plethora of things on the show. I'll leave it at that for now. We're going to get into all of it, okay? And just to show everybody that I am not only a good sport, a great sport about being satirized. What I hold here in my hand, if you can, see the little green screen thing, because that's Kyle, because he has the green hat. This is a complete 10th season. Now, I own a lot of these. These are the DVDs. And the reason I have these is, usually I do digital. I do like physical for some things, but that also has the DVD commentary. And there is an episode in the 10th season called The Mystery of the Urinal Deuce, where they satirize not only 9/11 truth, but essentially at that time, myself, Corey, and Dylan, much younger than anybody else in the field of 9/11 truth, were going viral in a time that really was just first occurring with Loose Chains. And they satirized us as the Hardley Boys. We were like detectives that were constantly looking for clues. So, they obviously made us out to be, quote unquote, gay. Okay. And how do I know that they were satirizing us? Well, I should play it sometime. But on the DVD extras, they talk about listening to the debate that myself and Dylan were having with the Popular Mechanics guys on the 5th anniversary of 9/11 on Democracy Now! Okay, we were the Hardley Boys, and they were pretty vicious to us. Now, were they AI micro penis vicious to us? I don't know. I don't know. Do I agree with every single South Park take? Absolutely not. Do I believe in free speech and hilarity? Yes. Did they create the greatest musical of all time with South Park, bigger, longer, and uncut, that still stands up to this day and I still watch to this day? Yes. And with that, by the way, that's also going to kind of talk about this Trump-Satan relationship and Saddam-Satan relationship that we're going to get into. Okay, but first, I want to do this. Joe Biden, I had to look it up, okay, because I was like thinking to myself, South Park, which started in the late 90s, satirized Bill Clinton. There's the famous Chin Pokemon episode, very, very funny. Satirized Hillary Clinton, satirized the Barack star, but actually never had Joe Biden at all. Now, again, South Park hadn't been around for the last 2 years. They had a limited run during the COVID-19 84 nightmare, but they never put Joe Biden in any of it. Okay? So I had to look it up, and I was making sure they have him in cutout scenes from an episode in 2008. Okay? And, I guess that in the concert, they had something about, Joe Biden, but that wasn't the show. So it was the About Last Night episode, which came out right after the 2005 election, 2008 election on November 5th. And basically they did an Ocean's 11 parody. That was pretty damn funny, actually. Okay? And they had set it up that whoever had won, they were going to steal the election. It was all about stealing the election. Back when we used to talk about stealing elections. And it wasn't just Russia, Russia, Russia. We were more, in fact, none of it was about Russia, Russia, Russia. It was all about the internal stealing of elections. Which we just, apparently those are all just conspiracy theories. But they did it on a broad spectrum here. And it was in deleted scenes in this that never made it, that Joe Biden was satirized. Now, I want to talk about this. When Trump decided to run, they decided not to go with Trump himself. And it was kind of a brilliant move. They took the Mr. Garrison character and basically made him into like the hyper satirized version of Donald Trump. And gave him the hair and everything else. And, with the border issues, he's like, we're going to come in there and we're going to F them all to death. And so Garrison was Trump. And a lot of it was kind of physical slapstick comedy. Every once in a while, they would rip on the policies, but it was never a real focal point. This entire episode, Trump was the focal point, and it started out with a big misnomer, okay? And something, this is what I'm talking about, intellectually dishonest. They did the NPR trope that the Trump administration is shutting down news organizations. And they even later on tried to associate that with Colbert, which we're going to get to in a moment, okay? Now, none of that is true. First and foremost, I have seen people talk about this and the memes online and, oh my God, what's next? And they talk about PBS, which also I believe did get defunded, and if it didn't, it should. And, Sesame Street, good. Do you realize, people need to get it, that they promoted the worst of the worst during the COVID 1984 nightmare. They promoted hate and lies on another level. I ain't talking about red and blue here. Forget about all those lies, right? Why are we funding that? And what really put me over the top was when I had to see Big Bird and characters that I grew up with, some now 4+ decades ago. Turned 46 this week, folks. 46. So when I'm 4, 5, 6, 7, Sesame Street, pretty big part of my life. And then even then, remember, they get integrated into the Muppets, right? The Jim Henson franchise. I would say the Muppets become kind of an extension of that. They have the night show. Child of the 80s was still on. You looked forward to that. Dun 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 dun. And they got these puppets that children trust and children look forward to, going on CNN with Sanjay Gupta, talking all sorts of crazy. And it's not just with the hate and lies, bibbity bobbity boobity. Okay? It's a number of things. So yeah, shut that down with my tax dollars. You want to promote that crap, you pay for it. Not me. Not you. Right? It's bad enough that you have these organizations. They always talked about them being quote unquote for-profit news, and that's a big problem. But if you let true capitalism, and it never really happens, by the way, because, media operations, they also have influence. That's why you got Robert Maxwell with the Daily Mirror, like multi-spies. One day it'll come out, how many people were really embedded or owning the media that were wrapped in intelligence? Going to be a lot. But when you're outwardly representing yourself, okay, outwardly representing yourself as some kind of neutral service for the people, and you're taking tax dollars and you're just promoting the it ain't 1 + 1 = 2. It ain't 3 × 8 is 24. It's not he was the count. I'm doing letters, right? Mixing it up. You know what I'm saying? It's none of that. That'd be fine if we were doing that. If we were doing straight down the line stuff. That's not what's happening at all. Not even a little bit. Okay? My dog's, of course, going wild up there. So, of course, I'm sure you're hearing that. So hold on one second. We're going to mute this as I yell at my dog. And by the way, can we thumbs it up, subscribe, and share? And he's not going to listen to me. Not going to listen to me at all. That's all right. We're going to keep going. Now, I want to point out that I'm all for political satire. Okay? One more time. Sorry. It's going. Probably my niece coming in, folks. I apologize. There she is. Everything's calming down. Anyway, we're going to get back to the show. Now, I just want to say this. As far as South Park satirizing any of this, that's fine. But let's not act like the Trump administration is shutting down news organizations. It's not. It's not. And then later on, it talks about Colbert. And the other theme of this is that, the Trump administration has exploited Christianity for its own purposes. Now, I don't necessarily disagree with some of that, and they show some of the hypocrisy later when Trump's going through the thing, and now he's got the little head bobbing up and down like Saddam, right? Because they go to Garrison's house, and Garrison is no longer Trump. This is the introduction to the actual Trump as president on the show. And everybody's got fake breasts, and everybody's partying by the pool, and I thought that was kind of funny. But then he gets in bed with Satan. Okay, now, I just want to point this out. And this is one of the reasons I think that we do live in a great country. Okay? In other countries, they just shut it down. And what do I mean by that? And I reported on this years ago. It's hard to believe that it's now been more than half a decade, but we're going to look at it. We good now, China. South Park creators issue mock apology after ban. So in 2019, South Park geniusly put out an episode called Banned in China, B-A-N-D, Banned in China, satirizing China's control over certain aspects of Hollywood and movies and culture, et cetera, et cetera. And there's this big thing where their president, there was kind of like people that wanted to protest him, would compare him to Winnie the Pooh. So that was an integral part of the episode and the season, and I loved every part of it. And South Park was immediately banned in the entire country. Okay, let's talk about that. That's bad news, Brown. We never want to be in that situation, right? It's still banned today. I looked it up. Maybe you can maybe get it on pirate sites, but over 1 billion plus people in a market. They didn't cow down, and they made something that I thought was completely hilarious. One of the funniest things this day, and they're still not there. Now, for what they did, and we're going to show you little snippets of this, you did have Trump in bed with Satan, not as funny as the Saddam stuff. The comparison of Trump to Saddam is absolutely ridiculous. Just over the top ridiculous, in my opinion. And, you look at this, and you've got White House slams South Park as desperate for attention after unflattering depiction of Trump. Well, we're going to get to the commercial and what I can show you, this little AI PSA. But they said, again, they went all the way back to the 1999 thing. But when you saw their response saying that they hadn't been relevant, here it is right here. We'll just read it. Okay, the left's hypocrisy truly has no end. For years, they have come after South Park for what they labeled as offensive content, but suddenly they are praising the show, Rogers said in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter. Just like the creators of South Park, the left has no authentic or original content, which is why their popularity continues to hit record lows. The show hasn't been relevant for over 20 years and is hanging on by a thread. With uninspired ideas and a desperate attempt for attention, President Trump has delivered on more promises in just 6 months than any other president in our country's history. And no fourth-rate show can derail President Trump's hot streak. Okay? These guys, again, just got $1.5 billion for the streaming rights over the next 5 seasons. Okay? And now we're going to get to the cancellation of Colbert really quick. So they have the Jesus character out there because now PC principle is power Christian principle. Basically, we're all being absorbed by Christianity or we're going to get canceled. It's not real. It's not a real political point to make. And, they're talking about Colbert got canceled because he's horrible. And people overall, just, it's too much. He had people dancing in hypodermic needles, cartoons. It's the same thing with the NPR and PBS argument. Like in a true capitalistic society, that dog don't hunt. You understand? It just doesn't. It's a reality. Just pointing that out. All right? And I just want to talk about this because there's Saddam and Satan. This is something I just learned. And maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but it's reported. Okay, and South Park guys talk about it. When they actually captured Saddam, because this movie was made in the late 90s, before 9/11 and before the Iraq War, but Saddam had already been targeted from the first Gulf War, etc. They got a signature. They have this signed thing. During his captivity, U.S. Marines forced Saddam, who was executed in 2006, to repeatedly watch the movie South Park Bigger, Longer, and Uncut, which shows him as gay, as well as the boyfriend of Satan. He was also regularly depicted in a similar manner during the TV series. Okay, and this is, Matt Stone. We're very proud of our signed Saddam picture and what it means. It's one of our biggest highlights. I have it on pretty good information from the Marines on detail in Iraq that they showed Saddam the movie over and over again, which is pretty funny thought. That's really adding insult to injury. So, you thought that movie went far. And by the way, it got NC-17 ratings, that film, where they whip out, a photoshopped male member. We'll leave it there, okay? This thing did an AI almost perfect Trump stripping down naked in the desert. We're going to show you some of it. And then an erect micro genius with eyeballs. Something like looked like a late 90s, early 2000s Eurotrash commercial that could never come to the United States. And I don't know whether they played this on Comedy Central, totally uncensored. I mean, they do just about everything in Comedy Central. So before we show this, okay, I want everybody to thumbs it up, subscribe, share, and we're going to show you some shots of it. We're not going to get to the graphic stuff. And please consider donating via the links below, either the Buy Me a Coffee or one of the many other links. And please check out all of the documentary films as well. Okay, so South Park, they have this. We're only going to go so far. Okay, we got this PSA, and here's Trump in the desert. Not terrible, right? Not a terrible depiction. Maybe they made him a little lardy. Here he is coming over the bend. Up, he's stripped down quite a bit. And the next shot's the last shot we're going to show you here. And boom. And then he looks up and basically has a conversation. Let's see if we can get one. No, we can't get. See, if we went one more, it would be too much. It is ridiculous. We're going two more, and and we'll show you this. Again, here he is. There's also some buttocks in there, but AI, has gotten to the point where it's not just an actor portraying him. It's not just, some CGI. It looks pretty damn convincing. So I'm going to leave it there. If you haven't watched the 10th season or the Mystery of the Urinal Deuce, you can. And you might even be able to get, I don't know if it's online, the commentary I was talking about. But again, I think I should play that. Fair play to these guys. I'm glad they're around. There were a couple of laughs in the show, but mostly, again, I'm disappointed with this idea that Trump is censoring news organizations under this administration, and everybody better get behind Jesus. I see the hypocrisy you're trying to point out. I get it, but no bueno, boys, no bueno. One more time, thumbs it up, subscribe, share. We're also growing for the first time in a long time. It's not like we're growing a lot. If I get 70 new subscribers a week, great. That's still not on pace to really do anything. We've got to multiply that by 10, by 100. Also, check out the Rumbles, the Rock Fins, the X account, and please, please, please not only consider donating to the cause, but check out the documentary films if you're new to this and share those across the board. Remember, it is not about left or right. It is always about right and wrong. I absolutely love you guys, and we will see you all on the flip side.